Yeah, I can hear it. Okay, cool. So that is up. Bruno, the Yoker, what up, my guys? We're gonna be starting very, very soon with special guests today. Stay tuned. Let me do my thing here real quick. See? Let me mute that bad boy. Okay, let me save that. Okay, Mari, what up? Thank you for joining. ET, what's up? Jorge Lopez, what's up? Marcus, we're gonna be starting this very, very soon. Let me finish posting this in social media, and we're gonna get started, my guys. Do you have a TV in the background, Fred? Oh, okay. That's fine. Okay. Almost done, my guys. Too many groups. Let's do this thing. Renegade. Yo, my guys, as you can see today, we have a special guest. It's the BSer in the house. It's Fred for Birdland BS. Shout out to my boy. If you follow us on Twitter, you saw that this happened earlier today. So shout out to him. I appreciate him coming. So Fred, tell them where they can find you if they're not familiar with you, which I doubt it, but where they can find you, man.
Appreciate you having me on, Sonny. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can follow me on Twitter at FredBLBS. You can follow my my podcast page at Birdland BS. Follow my co-host, Scott BLBS, if you want to. Kind of questionable. We'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
But, looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a fun show.
Yeah, so if you are in, for some reason, a follows count, right? You don't want to follow too many people. Well, Scott is one of those, and he's borderline. Like, if you don't want to put more than X amount of people, he's the one you want to keep out. But if you're just taking anybody, then just follow Scott too. Anyway, so like I said, special show today. We're gonna have Fred in the first half of the show. I wish he can stay the whole thing, and the only reason he cannot is because I still haven't been able to figure out how can I keep a guest and feed you guys his call, because that will be the epic part. I'm still struggling with it. Someday I will get this thing right. This is what happens when Nubel's here in the channel and in Raving and all the other guys. But anyway, thank you for everybody joining the stream. So let's get started. Free agency. We're gonna start with free agency, then we're gonna go up and do a mock draft, and at the end of the show we're gonna take some phone calls. If you haven't seen my mock draft, I put my latest mock draft out there. Let me tell you what it is before I go to free agency talk. Fred, you can grade me here if you want. I do mock drafts trading. I do trades all over the place. I cannot stay still. So I traded out of the first round, and with the 44th pick, I took Kenneth Murray. Then 55th pick, I took Brandon Ayuk. Not my favorite receiver, but I thought at that point, value pick, it was BPA for me, especially through what was there. 5 picks later, at pick 60, I took Julian Aquara, edge out of Notre Dame. Then pick 75th, I went middle linebacker again, and this is before the Bynes news. Willie Gay Jr. from Mississippi State. Then pick 77, Cole Kmet. I don't know if you know him, but he's a tight end out of Notre Dame. And then 129, the pick 129 had Lynn Bowden, wide receiver at Kentucky, and Ben Bredesen, guard out of Michigan. That was my mock draft.
If I was going to criticize anything, I think the draft looks good. If I was going to criticize anything, I'd be upset if they waited to pick 134 to take their offensive lineman, just because right now, obviously, that's a big hole. There's a lot of question marks with there. We don't have a whole lot of depth. So I'd like to see them go a little early versus taking the 2 inside linebackers, but both guys that you took, Murray and Gay, both good guys. You addressed every need that we need. I think Ayuk's going to be a good wide receiver. I don't think he'll be great, but I do think he'll be a good pick there to get him in the second round.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think he's spectacular. My favorite by far is Mims. I call them the big three. Yeah. Out of the big three, Mims by far, and then Jefferson. But when I had to pick at 28, neither of them were there. In my mock draft, neither of them were there at 28. Mims sometimes is there, sometimes it's not. Jefferson is going before that. So, anyway, so let me segue before we talk about free agency about this guard situation. Because I actually am in the fence with this, and I would like to hear your opinion. The reason I'm on the fence is I feel like we potentially are good, and we might need depth, which is what Bredesen is. If Skura is back, I think now we're good and we have depth. If he's not back, which is what I'm counting on, we potentially are good based on Powers. Now, Powers is a prediction, so is a second-round pick guard. They're essentially the same. Powers has a year in the system. I think the reason Macari jumped over Powers was because Macari can play center, because Powers was purely guard. And as soon as Skura went down, when Macari was the guy up, so he was more versatile. But if we think about it, how this offensive line, obviously our ends are fine. Left guard potentially is fine. He was okay. He got better as the year went through. I'm talking about Bozeman. And then our center's a question mark. Obviously, the right guard's a question mark. Center, if Skura's not there, Macari, you think, okay, he played last year on, 6 games-ish? And he did a good job. He had his, struggles as a rookie, but you would think year 2 he should be better. And then on the right side, Powers played very, very limited in the week, on week 17, and he did okay against the Steelers team that wanted to win, but obviously didn't. But who knows what a week 17, how much they were really in it and all that. But when he was there, he looked okay. So saying that, if both of those are ready, your line is good because you're not going to bring a veteran, right? So you're going to bring a rookie. And at this point, that rookie might be as good as Power. Now, it's good to bring more competition. I'm all for that. I like Cushenberry. He's my favorite inside O-lineman. But if, for example, if you're not going to bring Cushenberry, the rest of those guys is just for depth. So that's why as picks were coming, I was trying to figure out where my inside O-lineman was coming. And it went to my last pick in the 4th round. If Skura is ready, that's a big if. But if he is ready, now you have depth. Because now you can say, Skura, you're my center. If for some reason you get effed up, Macari's there. Macari and Powers, you battle for the right guard position. But I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, I mean, I think you answered it for me. There's a bunch of ifs in that whole entire statement, which is why, I think it's really important that we make sure we get a good offensive lineman in here. And I'm not talking about a day one starter. I think that's unrealistic for us to have a day one starter outside of maybe Cushenberry to come in. But the depth is huge. I mean, when you lose a guy like Marshall Yanda, who wasn't just a good offensive line, he was your anchor of your offensive line. You lose the versatility in James Hurst. Now, I know Nubo is not a big fan of James Hurst, but the versatility that he brought, being able to kind of line up pretty much anywhere on the offensive line, was huge. It was good value. Was he a starter that you wanted out there every game? No, but the versatility was big to this team. And then obviously you mentioned it, Matt Skura. We don't know where he is in the injury process. We see the workouts and everything looks good, but there's a reason that the Ravens low tendered him. The Ravens know more about it than you and I do. So there's something to that. And where they're going to risk not getting any compensation for him if somebody else comes in and scoops him up. So that worries me about Skura. Makari, like you said, I think he played good. And if he is going to be your everyday starter, and then you've got Powers, who's a big unknown. I know a lot of us were kind of high on Powers last year, and rightfully so. I think he's got a good body for it. I think he's got good technique. We just don't know what it's going to look like at the NFL level yet, just because he didn't play a whole lot. So again, there's a whole lot of ifs there, and losing those couple of pieces that we lost already, and then having the question mark around Skura really, really puts emphasis to me on offensive line. I think it's bigger than a lot of people are giving it value for.
Yeah, I think it's a need. My problem is I don't see a solution that is better than what we have, right? I mean, all this, other than Christianberry, I see a guy that might compete with Powers, might slightly beat him, but it's not going to be significantly better than probably a Powers to Makari. So at that point, I went with BPA. Like Ayuk, for example, which is my second pick, I don't love. If you go back to my video, guys, when he was this is pre-combine, but people had him as a first-round pick, I said, nope, he's not a first-round pick. He's a late second, maybe a third. And now that's roughly what people are mocking him. I think that's where he should be. So I think Skura, I think he will be a Raven. I think they tender him low because they're probably going to see if somebody's willing to sign him for cheap, they're going to match that, right? But more than anything, I actually think the Skura starts in the pup list. I actually think if he stays with us, he's going to start in the pup list.
Could very well. Yep.
So, but the question goes back that, is Makari ready to be a center, and is Powers ready to be a guard? If those two are ready, and only time will tell, we're good.
At this point, they're going to have to be. I mean, like you said, we don't really have any other options. They're going to have to be your starters because, like you said, there's no saying that Skura is going to be ready for week 1 right now. And if he does start on the pup list, that's your guys. Like, that's who you have, unless you're adding guys through free agency or you're adding guys through the draft. And like I said, I don't think anybody that they get in this draft outside of Cushenberry would be a day 1 starter. But that doesn't mean anything. Just because you have 5 good offensive linemen, you got to have that depth. It's important, especially with the way that this offense is built. You know, you're wanting to protect your prized possession and Lamar Jackson, and losing Marshall Yanda is no easy shoes to fill.
Yeah, I think also something that might happen is when cuts come, a vet will get cut, and I think that's when the Ravens will swoop up a vet to be in the right guard position. Good. Anyway, so let's move on. Let's talk about free agency, because last time that I was here, Jamie Smith got signed, Levine got signed, Chris Moore got signed. We lost on Josh Bynes. I don't know if something that I'm missing. I think that's about it. I think
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think about those moves? The ones the Ravens got, and the one that we lost.
Secondary is fire. I don't think there's a better secondary in the league at this point. I really didn't expect Jimmy Smith to come back. I figured somebody would pay him $8-9 million a year to be a starter in this league. But hey, it worked out great for us for many reasons. I mean, that contract of $3.5 million guaranteed and the extra $2.5 million in incentives is a steal of a deal. Just Eric DeCosta showing everybody how great he is in just his second year at GM. I think Anthony Levine is a very under the radar signing. I don't think people understand the value that he brings in the sense that I said this multiple times before, he's that Swiss Army knife, man. You can line him up pretty much anywhere on the field. You can line him up at linebacker. You can have him at safety. You can put him in many places, but then we also know how much added value he brings on special teams as well. So both of those signings were great. The only one I'm kind of like, about Chris Moore. and I've been about Chris Moore since day one. Never really been a big fan of his. I definitely don't like him as a wide receiver. I think he's gotten plenty of opportunities and shown he hasn't been able to do it at this level, but he does bring value in special teams. We all know John Harbaugh. He's a special teams coach, so John Harbaugh has a special place for Chris Moore.
Yeah, I'm surprised how much you're investing in special teams, because I actually thought as soon as we signed Levine, I was like, okay. When I heard we might be interested in Chris Moore, I was like, what? We signed Levine. Usually the rest you fill out with people like Imam Marshall, one of those Everett, right? Those kind of corner. We're gonna draft probably 2 receivers, but we're probably gonna have another one. Whoever that 6 or 7 receiver, that's your guy there. So these, and then I don't know what is the contract on Moore. I haven't seen it, but I'm just I was shocked. To be honest, I was shocked that we brought Moore. Jamie Smith, I remember saying his contract will be between 6 and 8. So we got not only a 6, but it's less than that, right?
Right.
What I figure is Jamie Smith was getting lowballed through the market, and probably he might have got something a little bit better than what we offer him. But he was like, okay, I've been here forever.
I think he's comfortable here.
Yeah. Why get just a couple pennies more? Let me just go to Baltimore. Levine, I don't think Levine probably got too much traction out in the open market. And in the case of Bynes, I'm surprised. I'm very surprised at Bynes because not that he went to the Bengals. I'm surprised that somebody wanted him because he was out there for more. I mean, he wasn't even in training camp last year.
Yeah, but there's no denying the impact that he had on this team from the minute that he stepped into the field. And I think a lot of people, especially people in our division, saw that in a team like Cincinnati, who's desperate for linebacker help. I think he makes sense for them.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he probably, again, I think it was more like he felt comfortable here. I think the secondary masked a lot of weaknesses. I think the offense actually masked a lot of weaknesses because I kept saying this throughout the year last year that our running defense was okay, but teams were bailing on running against us. That our running numbers, defense looked great. And I think that linebackers, LJ4 and Bynes were both okay linebackers. And I think they're good to have, but they are not good to count through the year for those two.
Yeah,
it's the same thing with McPhee. He will be great to have as the guy that you bring on special occasions, but now as we were doing situational. Now as we were basically counting on him to be down to down. So, but yeah. What do you think?
I think this solidifies where the Ravens are day one of the draft. I think losing Josh Bynes and not really having an answer at inside linebacker as a starter, for me, that just solidifies what the Ravens are going to do early on in this draft. I think you'll see in the first 2 picks of the draft an inside linebacker, whether that's in the first round or that's the first of the second round picks that we take, you'll see an inside linebacker. Obviously, a lot of the mock drafts out there have Patrick Queen and Murray from Oklahoma as guys that could be pegged for us, and I think this kind of solidifies that for me.
Yeah, as I was telling you guys last week, all these signings that we have done point to me that we need what? Linebacker and wide receiver are the top 2 need, and edge after that. If we trade Matthew or Judon, obviously then edge becomes top. Now, interesting enough, I know the whole Matthews thing is still out there revolving, and my whole thing with that is the Ravens can go one of 2 ways. They can sign Matthews and say, Judon and Matthew, you're gonna be my veterans. You have Bowser and you have Fergie, and you guys are gonna be the backups. Fergie, you still have some growing to do, and then go with that and say, Jordan, you're just going to be in the 1-year tag. Matthew's probably going to be here for a year, 2 at most, and go. Those are pretty good linebackers. Jordan young still and good, and Matthew's a good, savvy veteran. You go with those 2, with this secondary and the interior line, that will be spectacular. Yeah. Consequential, you can sign Matthews and say, we're going to trade Judon, getting good compensation, and draft younger guys to replace Judon and think on the future, but not necessarily your best lineup now. I think if they're trying to push for a win now, if you bring Matthews, you keep Judon for 1 more year. Say, here you go. You're going to be my outside backers with the depth behind. Yes, we might draft a couple guys too, but you 4 are my starters and backups. Let's go. And that secondary, I think think about this. You started 11. Judon and Matthews. Again, this is hypothetical. Judon and Matthews. You have Baby on Williams, Brocker, and Campbell. That front looks great. Now, middle linebacker, point that whoever you draft in the first round there with LJ4. Weakest position, because even if the rookie sensation is still a rookie, right? And then you go Humphrey, Peters, and Young, and having Jimmy in the back end. And then on the safety side, you had E.T. and Clark, with hopefully the Joker, if he doesn't get hurt, also as a backup. That looks pretty legit to me.
Yeah, their defense is going to be legit regardless of what happens here, whether they add a Matthews or they don't add a Matthews. I think if they're going to add a Matthews, they got some work to do because the salary cap is real tight right now. You got to remember, with all these contracts that they've signed, and they still have 9 draft picks to sign, 5 of which are in the first 3 rounds. They're going to be right up against the number. So some things would have to happen. I think if Judon can get extended, which I'm one to kind of read into things, but he's put out a tweet earlier in response to somebody else that was talking about being here for 1, 2, 3, 4 more years. Made me think that maybe there's some inside things going on there with Judon to help free up some money. So it's not just a 1-year deal. But if you are in a small window right now, right, because we all know the big contracts that are coming up in the next couple of years, if you're going to win and you're going to be aggressive and give your team the best chance of winning and going out there and spending every dollar you can smartly, now is the time to do it for sure. And a guy like Matthews, for me, would be a big addition to this team, having Judon and Matthew as your bookends for edge rushing.
Yeah, so if you think about it, right now, it's according to Over the Cap, and they haven't put the latest sign. I think they put Smith. Let me see. Yeah. No, we don't have Jimmy Smith either. So they haven't put Jimmy Smith. But we have 7.8 without the 3 signings, right? Those 3 signings, right. Let's say they eat $4 million. So we had $3 million. I think Matthew's contract is $3 to $4 million. It's not going to be huge. That's a reason.
Didn't the Rams pay him like $9 last year, though?
Yeah, and they cut him.
Yeah.
So I think you can probably pay him like a 4 with incentives.
Right.
And then the next thing is, for example, can you maybe restructure Taylon Young's contract or maybe Nick Boyle's contract a little bit and create a couple mil there, and maybe Mark Ingram's contract you can, or Tucker. Tucker's 5.1. Ingram's 5.3. Snead is a 1-year deal, so the only way is if you extend it. I don't think they want to do that. Nick Boyle, you can. So those are candidates to create a mill here, a mill there to fit him. But yeah, you're right. We're tight.
Very tight.
I don't think unless somebody gets cut, we're gonna bring anybody unless it's somebody like Matthews. Now you're right. Also, if we get Matt Judon to sign for, let's say, 18, because the market has gone down. Like the report is, Clowney got a $17 million offer and he declined.
And he turned it down. Yeah, I heard that.
Which I would have been shocked if he would have signed for 17. But if Judon can sign for 18-ish, right? Then you can probably prorate some of that money for the future, and then lower that, so we can then bring a guy like Matthews. Again, you get those 2 guys there. I think that's great. And then if Fergie develops a little bit more, man, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that was our biggest hole last year at the end of the year was the edge rushing. We've obviously improved the pass rush from the interior with the big signings that we've had with Brockers and Calais Campbell. That's huge. And then when you add another guy like Clay Matthews on the outside, who are you going to guard at that point? Who are you going to double at that point? You know what I mean? It's going to leave somebody free. And it's going to be an exciting defense, especially when you put Wink into factor, right? And his ability to get creative and move guys around. And Calais Campbell, he can line up as a 1 technique or a 5 technique. You could put him literally anywhere on the line. So I'm excited to see what Wink's going to do with this defensive front, this whole new vamped defensive front. I think it's going to create some havoc for some teams.
Yeah, for me, the exciting part is the ability to create pressure without blitzing, and then when
Right.
we blitz, having free blitzers to them. That's gonna make our secondary even more. I mean, especially a guy. I think Humphreys is a beast, but
Mhm.
Peters have the awareness to have picks and take them to the house. This is before Baltimore. That's been his MO. If there's pressure and a quarterback just throws it quick, that's where Peters excels.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I consider like Humphreys is one of those shutdown corners. Like he'll make the play pretty much every play. 99% of the time he's going to make a play. Marcus Peters, I think he's a great corner, but he's that playmaking, ball hawking corner that's looking to make the big play all the time. And sometimes that can get costly. Sometimes he can get beat. But man, the risk reward when he takes that pick six is huge.
Yeah, I remember when he was in the Rams and he was struggling. I remember telling a buddy of mine that was a Ram fan. I was like, why you guys don't put him in free safety? Because he has the awareness that he can be a free safety. Now, if he can be a corner, that's great. But I think as his career moves in the later years, he definitely has the awareness to be a free safety. Again, if you can create pressure, that's where he excels. Without pressure, that's when he can get burned. Versus Humphrey, I think without pressure, he can still hold his own. It's just two different type of corners. This is not to diminish one or the other. I think both are great, and we are lucky currently to have the secondary situation. I remember, was it 3 years, 4 years ago, where our secondary was like, oh my God, because Jimmy Smith was
garbage.
Yeah, Jimmy Smith was hurt. Was it that year that we went to the playoff and we lost to the Patriots? And I don't even remember who was in our secondary. That was after
I think we had
Super Bowl.
Frank Walker back then. It was terrible.
It was bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
So we are in a great situation. I understand middle linebacker is not a strongest suit, but as I always tell you guys, we're gonna have A players throughout this team. We can't.
Right.
So if we go saying our weakest position is middle linebacker, and that makes our first round our rookie middle linebacker the pick, it is what it is, and we're gonna roll with it. But everything around that guy, that middle linebackers, are gonna make them better. Anyway, let's segue to the mock draft that we're gonna do today. We have a special guest, like obviously you see, is Fred. So I'm gonna let Fred dictate how this. But you guys are there, and I want you guys also to say what will be your pick there. Fred, if you think it should be trading down, trading up, any given point, you tell me. So let's.
All right.
Oh, what happened here? Hold on. Okay. Why is this? Oh. I see why, Fred. I think I cannot share this.
Okay.
And have Okay, let me give me a second here. Give me a second now. Okay, technical difficulties. Yeah. So if I share it, it doesn't let me show it, man. So what I'll do, I'll tell you the picks. If you're in YouTube, if you're following the stream, you can also probably see it. But
It's a little bit behind, but I can follow.
Yeah, but okay. So let me start this mock draft here.
Okay.
What? Okay. This mock draft is going a little crazy for me. Although this is something that I will tell you guys right now. I can see Herbert dropping as the amount of quarterbacks being available this year. Never seen this. Right now we're talking about Cam Newton looking for a place to
Pause the draft.
It's pause.
Where are we at? What pick?
28. It's our pick.
No, I know our pick's 28, but I'm saying where are we at with a pause, but it's going. Just keep going.
Yeah, no, because
I was going to talk about a trade, but that's okay.
With who? Who you want to
Well,
trade?
I was thinking about trading up into the top 15, somewhere like either 13th or 14th, and trying to snag a wide receiver.
Okay, hold on. Let's read this. I can restart this shit. This is why. Now, this might take a couple of tries because the draft network machine or whatever the hell these people are called, their thing is good until you try to reset it, and then they get not happy with you. So hold on, let me do this. Let me mock it up. Let's do this. Hopefully it's working. And let me just to check, guys. This is not saying that I'm gonna attempt this trade. Why you disappoint me so much, the draft network? Why? Hold on, we're gonna do this thing here. Hold on, here we go. No. Is this live? You see? This is when live things happen.
That's what happens when you go live, man.
This is it. Let me see here. Let me check if... Oh, come on, the Draft Network. You stupid.
No worries, man. Just let it go.
No. Because when I'm doing mock drafts, this is what happens to me. And they have a good product. This is not me trying to bash them for no reason. They do have a good product, but their thing has hiccups. And when they have a hiccup, it frustrates the hell out of me. Okay. So, let's see here. Hopefully now it works. Usually I just need to bring a new fucking window. Okay, so let me see if it lets me trade with Bills. Sure. No. So you were looking to trade to pick 15, Fred?
Somewhere in that 13 to 15 range.
Okay. And do you have okay, hold on. Do you have a preference, a player?
Well, I've got 3 wide receivers that I'm looking at here.
Okay.
So I want to see who's available at that particular time.
Okay, so at 15, I'm going to pause it, okay?
Yep.
If this shit decides to work. Well, it worked the first time and now it's acting up. Okay. Yes, guys, you're seeing the same page over and over. I know. It's because the Draft Network's being stupid. Oh, Fred is killing me. Okay, let me roll it with it. So I'm gonna do a manual this trade. See, I'm gonna stop it at 15 with the Broncos pick as the 15.
Okay.
Okay, so at 15, you have CeeDee Lamb already went out, and Ruggs went out, and Judy went out.
Damn.
None of them are there.
Yeah, let it roll then. I was hoping one of those would be there between 13 and 15, and if neither one of those are there, then I'm not making the move.
Okay, so you only will trade out for him.
If I'm going to trade up for a wide receiver, those were the 3 that I was looking for. Those were the 3 that I was looking to get. I think Ruggs, just the speed alone, paired up with Hollywood Brown, who you're going to cover between those 2 guys, and Lamar Jackson, that's speed all over the field. Mm-hmm. Judy, obviously, is probably the most complete wide receiver. And CeeDee Lamb also right up there with him. Those 3 guys are that tier 1 for me as far as wide receivers. But Denzel Mims, though, we've talked about him a lot, is a guy that's the right fit for this team.
He's gone already.
Yeah.
So look, 11, 12, or 13, that's when the big 3, as I call them, win. And I think the Jets, I don't know, they need a wide receiver. They also need a couple other positions. Raiders definitely a wide receiver, and I think San Francisco 13 pick is going to be a wide receiver. And then Justin Jefferson, he went to pick 22, which is surprising because I don't think Justin Jefferson. I think the Vikings will look to get a wide receiver, but I don't think that's the wide receiver they need. That he plays the Thielen position. But okay, whatever. And then Mims went 23 to the Patriots, which is also surprising because I would have thought more of a quarterback situation. But I think Belichick likes to get a bargain. So anyway, so this is the picks.
Yikes. If this happens, I think this is a nightmare for the Ravens at this point. This might be where you think about trading back a couple picks to maybe boast up, get another 2nd-round guy or another 3rd-round guy if the draft board falls this way. But if I'm making a pick here out of the guys that are available, I'm between Gross Matos and Epinesa as far as edge rushers there. I think those 2 guys make sense. T. Higgins, I like him, but I just don't see him being a round 1 wide receiver. There are a few other guys that you can get in round 2 that I think are a little bit better and guys that would fit this offense a little bit better. So if I'm going to take anybody, I think I'm going to take Matos there.
Okay. Yeah, so I redid it to see if it let me trade, but it's not. So we're going to stop the attempts. This is what it is.
It is what it is. All right, let's see what we get.
So this is just a second. Okay, so here you have your pick. No receivers, basically. You have Kinlaw is there. DeAndre Swift.
Wow.
Grant Delpit. Jonathan Taylor, running back. Love. Patrick Queens is still there. Murray's not there. Gross Matos, Gallimore, Rieger, Bond, Laviska. So
All right. So for me, the easy pick here would be Patrick Queen just because of need. But if you're gonna pick best player available, like the Ravens have done in the past, man, Kinlaw is a hard one to pass up. I know we just revamped our defensive line, especially our interior, but how many years is Campbell here for? He's only signed a 2-year deal, right? And Kinlaw, in my opinion, is a top 15 pick in this draft. So for him to.
Uh-oh. Hello? You're back?
You there?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So you're saying you were talking about Kinlaw and you froze.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, I was just saying the value there for Kinlaw is great. He's a top 15 pick, in my opinion. I think if you're going to draft like the Ravens have in the past with best player available, that's the pick. But I'm going to take the bigger need, and the bigger need right now is inside linebacker. I'm going to take Patrick Queen there.
Patrick Queen. I would have taken Kinlaw.
Yeah, Kinlaw, like I said, it's the great value there. It's a steal to pick him at 28, but trying to win now, and that's the big hole.
Yeah, and I got you. I think Kinlaw can help still in that interior D line.
Yeah.
Especially the guys that are older. But I got your pick. I understand. Okay, so we're approaching the next pick 55. Guys, there's no trades because this thing again is being stupid. It's being very, very stupid. Let me double check that it's not the Niners. Where is this? Let me double check. Yeah, this thing. Ooh, wait. It's work. Oh, I see. Okay, so it's working. If we want to trade back, or now it's working. I think
that's all right.
I think it was working before, but I made a boo-boo. Okay. Anyway, so pick 55th. Again, you can trade back now. This shit is working. But 2 running backs there. Again, guys, if you tell me you want to take a running back, I'll mute you because you should not take a running back until at least the 5th round if you want to take a running back. Okay, you have a tackle there, Austin Jackson. You have another inside lineman, D lineman, Davidson, and you have a couple safeties, and then there's your O-line, inside O-line, Jonah Jackson and Matt Hennessy. Curtis Weaver on the edge. Michael Pittman is the wide receiver. Cole Kmet, and then Julian Okwara and a couple others. And we have 5 picks after this again.
I think Michael Pittman would be good, but I think you could get him at the next pick because we've got 2 wide receiver or 2 second round picks there. Yep. I think there's value in getting an offensive lineman at this point. Okay. But Austin Jackson, he could be shifted inside at guard if you needed to get that guy. Man. Yeah, I'm going to go Austin Jackson. I think the value's there.
Austin Jackson. Okay. So on pick 60. So we still have Pittman if you want him. Weaver is the only one in Okwara. I like Okwara. He's out.
Yeah.
So Curtis Weaver and Okwara are out. The other guys, Hennessy went out for the inside, but I'm assuming since you took a tackle, you're not going to be taking another lineman. Pittman, Kmet, Uch, I think is how you pronounce the edge from Michigan. So any of those that intrigue you? Or would you want to take back?
No, I think I'm going to end up taking Pittman there.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Can you show me? Or I guess I can't. Never mind. Just go ahead.
Can I show you what? I
was going to see
Pittman, but sorry.
Okay. Yeah, it's all right. No worries. I remember the screen's a little bit behind you.
Yeah, you can tell me pause. Let it, and I'll pause. So our next pick is coming very soon. A pick, pick 92, and just to recap your picks: Patrick Queens, Austin Jackson, and Michael Pittman Jr.
Yep.
Okay. So we're here. the picks. There's 2 tackles there. It's a safety, quarterback, and I'm not telling you the names because I'm assuming you're not targeting those positions.
Garnett's gonna kill me if we don't take. Oh, he's already gone. Shoot, I saw Gay there for a second. And then I guess he went a couple picks.
Couple picks and die as well. But you
Damn.
pick your middle linebacker.
No, I know, but man, the value of getting Gay there in the 3rd round would have been a big get.
So I have Bryce Hopkins, tight end. Darrell Taylor, edge. Did your screen catch up, by the way?
Yeah, it's up now. Yep.
So if you want on the right receiver, there's KJ Hill. Let me see.
I'm going to take Taylor there. We need the edge rusher, so I'm going to take Taylor there, I think.
Okay, so Darrell Taylor, edge from Tennessee. And then is that our last pick? Or do we still have one more after this one? 106. Pick 106. There's Jabari Saniga, Brandon Ane, both edges. Brian Edward, wide receiver out of South Carolina. I know a couple of the guys here like him. Courtney Davis, wide receiver, Texas A&M. There's a couple of safeties. Aloy Gilman for Notre Dame. Kevon Wallace from Clemson. Tight end, we have a guy that I know a lot of you guys love, which is Randy Moss's kid. Today is Moss. Any of those intrigue you?
I mean, the Thaddeus Moss thing, it intrigues me just because we used so many tight end, 3 tight end formations last year. And obviously losing Hayden Hurst, we have the void there. But let's see. Part of me wants to go Brian Edwards, but I know we could probably get even more of a value later at wide receiver. Can you show me who the wide receivers are available right now?
Sure. Yeah, Brian Edwards, Courtney Davis, Lynn Bowen from Kentucky.
I think we can get Bowen later.
Okay.
So let's pass on wide receiver for now.
Okay.
Man.
I'm letting you pick so the guys can grade your picks here.
I'm gonna take Moss. I'm gonna take Moss just because I think, again, having that 3rd tight end, it will be good for our offense.
So that was our last pick in the 3rd round. So now we have our 2 4th round picks, and one is about to come. And they're almost back to back. Oh, we have 3? No, we had 2. I think we had 2 4th.
Yeah, 2 4th.
Okay, so we'll pick 129. Would it be there? Brian Edward went with the pick before on 128. It was close, but no cigar. Now, the next 4 best available, one of them is Lynn Bowden from Kentucky. Is that the guy you want?
Yeah, let's snag him. Let's snag him there. Thought we might be able to get him even later, but if they're saying he's top 4 available right now, let's get him.
I mean, you pick him with pick 129th. And then last pick, 134. The top 4 here are Anthony McFarland. I know you know him. Colin Johnson from Texas, wide receiver. Linebacker, Joe Bashie Jr. from Michigan State. Tyler Johnson, wide receiver from Minnesota. Ben Bretson, Richie Grant.
I think I'm taking Richie Grant there to add some depth at safety. Outside of Elliott, we really don't have a whole lot of depth at safety, and I think he brings some value there late in the 4th.
Okay. So, my guy, so you can grade my boy, Mr. Berland, special guest.
On the fly.
On the fly. This is on the fly, so this is not easy, guys. This is not easy. Okay? So, I'm going to tell you your picks, Fred.
Yeah, man.
Patrick Queens, first pick on the first round. Then you get
pick.
Austin Jackson, potential guard for us. Michael Pittman, wide receiver. Darrell Taylor, edge from Tennessee. Thaddeus Moss, which I know people love around here, from LSU. Lynn Bowden, wide receiver, Kentucky. And Richie Grant, safety out at UCF. Now, I know you're going to keep it real with me. So what do you think is your own grade?
If I'm going to be honest there, based on need, I'm going to give it a B plus. Based on exciting, I'm going to give it a B.
Okay.
I guess, like I said, I think it fills a lot of needs that we have. Austin Jackson's probably the guy that nobody's going to be excited about there with the second pick, but I think, again, I told you earlier in this stream how important it is to have that offensive line depth. And I tell you, who's the guy that we have for 1 year at offensive tackle? He was the old Bengals tackle. I can't think of his name right
Smith.
now. Yeah, Andre Smith. He's not it. He's literally just there as a body right now, filling in some extra, help with depth. If you can get a young guy like Austin Jackson in the second round that could potentially shift inside or play outside, that replaces James Hurst's versatility on the offensive line. So I think that's a big get there. Pittman, I don't think he's the most exciting wide receiver in the draft, but I think he fits a need. I think he's a physical guy. I think he'd fit in well with that whole blocking first, catching second kind of mentality. And I think that the value in this is Bowden. I think Bowden, if he doesn't have the off the field issues, I think this guy is easily a second round pick, but there's a lot of question marks. There's red flags, but from a pure playmaking standpoint, and that's what Eric DeCosta said he wanted to do, was put playmakers around Lamar Jackson. Bowden's a good pick.
Okay. I like it. As we were picking, I was doing mentally picks with you. The Austin Jackson pick, I would have made that one.
Right.
And then Michael Pittman, based on who was there, I think that was a good pick in my opinion. And then the rest, like the Thaddeus Moss, I probably would have made that, and the Boughton one as well, based on the people that the players that were there. I think this is a pretty solid draft. Like if we come out with this draft, I'll be feeling good. I'll feel like we just added good depth. Now I'm gonna do another one for you guys here, and now it's gonna be mine.
I'll tell you what, it's going to scare me to death if wide receivers start flying off the draft board like they did in those couple of mocks that you started there. I mean, I expect probably 4, if not 5 wide receivers to go before us at 28 if we don't move anywhere. But, man, to have Denzel Mims go at like 20 overall or 22 overall, it's a big jump from where everybody was projecting him earlier, and that would not sit well with me.
Yeah, so the biggest problem we have right now is the quarterbacks, right?
Yeah.
Will the quarterbacks go? And the problem is you have Cam Newton out there. You have average Andy Dalton, but you have still Winston, right? And if you think Herbert is a guy that doesn't get a lot of people excited, if he starts sliding, who's starting to get picked? Well, receivers might, especially the big three, as I call them. And then you have now Minnesota with receiver needs. They're in the backing of the draft, right?
Right.
So let me see. So I'm doing mine, and big three are going always in the same place. Justin Jefferson and Mims went in the same place when Minnesota and New England.
You had 15 there paused, and Chason was still there.
Yep.
That might intrigue me to trade up and look at possibly a Chason there. I think he'd be a big fit, a good fit.
I like Chason. I'm not gonna lie. I like Chason. Okay, so for me, guys,
same thing.
It was basically almost a copy of your right. So a bunch of running backs love. I'm going to try to see if this shit does work now, and I'm going to try to attempt to trade back. I'm going to try to attempt back with the Colts. Yeah, that is working. And this is a proposed trade that I think is fair. So we move to the second round. We drop 6 picks, and then we'll see if they accept this shit. And then we jump 11 picks with the Colts in the second round. So we flip seconds with them.
Okay.
Let's see, because they like to give me the finger. It's not working, so I had to make the pick. F them. Okay, so hey guys, by the way, I know a couple of you have been texting me. If you wanna be in the call list later, go ahead. You can text me. I will call you guys back. Okay, so you can text me, and then when we and Fred finish here, we're gonna be in the queue. Okay, so interesting here. I have AJ Epinesa, Gross Matos, Zach Bond, and Patrick Queens, man.
I want to get your take on Chenault. What do you think of Chenault? I know a lot of people are high on him. A lot of people hate him. It's kind of a mixed bag.
Chenault is a guy that I don't think you should draft in the first round, not because of injury.
Agreed.
I think he is a weapon, but a different weapon. And if you don't know how to use him, you're going to feel that you have a bust. And it's not that you have a bust, it's just he's very unique. So I don't know if he will fit with the Ravens necessarily.
I agree.
Gross Matos, I don't think it fits for the Ravens. AJ Epinesa, I like him more than Gross Matos, but he will essentially be, this is my opinion, you can check the video that I drop on Monday, my guys, but AJ Epinesa is essentially a younger, not as good right now, but he could, of Calais Campbell. So that will be the position that I will put him. Now, what I will do is probably slide him on the other side and say Brockers and him be rotating.
Rotational.
Yes, rotating. But, and then you have Ward and Calais rotating. If I would have taken him in the first round, I think I'm leaning with you here, Patrick Queens. Although I'm not as in love like people are with Patrick Queens. I think he's good, not great. But the other guy that I see, so if you tell me who are your top two so you would draft in this position, it would be Patrick Queens and Zach Bond. The problem with I have with Zach Bond, which guys, a video of him is coming soon. The problem that I have with Zach Bond, in my opinion, based on the film that I watch, he is a poor man Chason. And what I mean with a poor man is Chason can do a bunch of things, and he can do them really good, not yet elite, but really, really good. Zach Bond can do also a lot of things, but he can do them okay. Right? So essentially, and this kills me, essentially he plays like Bowser. Bowser can do a lot of things okay, nothing great. And this is where Bowser is always and you're behind people as your depth guy and not as your starter. He hasn't been able to get one of those things on the other side and be elite. For those reasons, I'm going to go with Patrick Queens. But I know a lot of you guys love Bond. And then Rieger's there. Rieger, for me, is a second-round pick, not a first-round pick.
100% agree.
Ideally, in this situation, even my guys, even if you have Patrick Queens as the only middle linebacker, I would have traded back for sure. For sure. And if I lose some Patrick Queens, I can live with that.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to trade back too much, but yeah. Okay. So I'm here now. And Donovan Peoples-Jones, I know a lot of you guys love him. I'm not big on him. Ayuk, sure. I like Okwara. The question is, do you gamble and let him go by? I'm not in love with Weaver. I know a lot of you do love Weaver. But I'm not big on Weaver. And oh my god, I have PTSD with this because I know he's from Boise in the second round, and all I can think of is a guy that I did love back then. I did love. He was one of my favorite picks back there, and he busted. Yeah. We might have ruined him because we did move him a lot, but still he busted. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I blame that on Peas.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pick the guy that I like the most out of here. And I think I'm going to overdraft him a little bit. But I don't want to lose him, so I'm going to go with Julian Okwara.
Okwara? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so going back here, I have Pittman there. I have Ayuk. I think Ayuk is the better of between Pittman and Ayuk. I think Ayuk can probably play in the outside. Not probably. That's where he will play better than Pittman. Let me see what other right receivers I have here.
Yeah, I'm surprised Ayuk's still around considering he was gone.
What?
Way earlier.
It killed it. What? You see, this is my beef with them. This is my beef. It just literally killed it. Mother effers. Why would they do that to me? I'm here live. The Draft Network. I'm here pulling drive. And yes, you guys can see my my thing. Okay, F that. Okay, guys, sorry. I'm sorry, but yeah, I don't want to keep going hours between this. The Draft Network, you have a good product, but you need to fix this shit. This is unacceptable.
It's on overload right now. Everybody's on the Draft Network. Nobody's got anything else better to do.
That is true. That is true. Anyway, let's finish with this before I start taking calls.
Yeah.
Right now, if you say, okay, what moves do you think the Ravens need with what is out there? What moves will you make, if any? And in the draft, like you were saying, would you jump up for who? And if you don't have X, Y, or Z, would you trade back? What are those things that you want the Ravens to do in the next couple months?
I'd like to see them restructure a couple contracts. I'd like to see them extend Judon like we talked about. I think if they do those things, that frees up a little bit more money that they could go out and get a guy like Clay Matthews. We talked about it earlier. I just think what he brings adds another dimension on both sides, with Judon and Matthews. So I think that would be huge for this team. I do want to see them pick up some more offensive line depth, whether that's a guy that maybe gets cut at camp from another roster, whatever it may be. That's huge to me. I think this will be one of the first drafts where we see the Ravens actually trade up. If I've ever questioned whether the Ravens were going to trade up in a draft, this is the one year I think they actually do it. They've stockpiled a good amount of picks. They got 2 in the second, 2 in the third, 2 in the fourth. They've got the ammo to do it. But it's got to be worth it, right? You're not just trading up for the sake of trading up. If you can get one of those tier 1 wide receivers, one of those, those top 3 that we talked about earlier, I think that makes a lot of sense for this team. And again, like we said, Eric DeCosta is all about putting playmakers around Lamar, and one of those guys would be a huge, huge addition to this offense.
Okay, so saying that you will move up for one of the 3.
Yep.
And for Chason, you said, right?
Potentially, yep.
Okay, so let's assume for a receiver, for one of the 3, you have to move to pick 12. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay, so moving to pick 12 with our pick 28. I'm going to make you the calculations here really, really quick with the Jimmy Johnson magic spreadsheet thingy that he did. And the reason I use that is it's kind of accurate. Usually people pay more than that, but this is what we have. This is where we're going. So, I'm going to tell you what you have to give, and you tell me roughly if it's something that you be intrigued. So, okay. To go from 28th to 11 or to 12, potentially you will have to give a first round the year next year and a second. That's about so in this. Oh wait. I think I fucked up something here. Hold on. It's 11 and okay, I lied. Okay, so you have to give up your first, obviously, because it's a swap up first. And then you have to give up your 2 seconds. And then they will give you a 5th. I'd say forget... A fourth. They will give you a 4th, and you have to give your 2 seconds.
I'd say forget the 4th. I'd give up our first, a second, and a third. So give them the extra value in giving them that 3rd pick. And see if that would fly. Okay,
so that means a 3rd for us is... That will fly if you give them a 4th. Also, you have to a first, a second. So the first second, right? Your first 3rd. And you still have to give them your first 4th and your 5th.
And your 5th?
Mm-hmm. And then they will have to give you their 6th.
Man, that's mortgaging a whole lot.
So you will still have your second, your second, 3rd, your second, 4th. Essentially, you get to give all your first picks on each round.
I don't know. I don't know if I make that deal. I'm cool with the whole reason I would want to space it out 2nd and 3rd is I don't want to trade completely out of any round. I want to at least have a pick in a round.
You will still have a pick in each round, though.
Right. I know, but giving up a 4th and a 5th on top of the 2nd and the 3rd, that's steep, man. That's steep, especially if that's all we're getting is their first. We're not getting anything else in return.
A 6th.
A 6th? Yeah, see, for that's nothing. Yeah, I might stay put just because I think you can add more value in getting those 9 picks. at that point.
I completely agree. So now let's talk about Chason. I
Mm-hmm.
think you can get him at pick 17.
Okay.
So that will be, if he's there at pick 17, that will actually, all you have to do is give them, swap first. You also give them your second, and then they will have to give you, where's this here? I think they will have to give you a 6. So your first, the 60th overall pick, which is the second, and you give a 6. Would you do
100%.
Okay.
Done deal.
The reason I wanted to bring those scenarios, my guys, is because this is what goes in a draft room, right? And with this scenario, that tells you that's roughly the range you're looking at. When you guys tell me, oh, let's trade up for the top 3, well, it all depends what these top 3 are. If they're in pick 17 with Dallas, which is Dallas, right? The Dallas pick, that's when roughly you can start thinking about trading up. Right. What I'm giving you is the draft chart it has an accumulate value and it drops exponentially down. Then not only that, usually teams pay a little bit more than this. Okay, so not much more, but a little bit more than this. So based on that, roughly 17 is the sweet spot that you can start thinking about trading up. Now, there's a lot of still good players at pick 17. Chason can be dropping to pick 17. And think about if you bring Chason and you kept Judon, but you really didn't bring Matthews. Now you can put Chason on the other side. Fergie can develop more. Chason still needs to develop because, like I said earlier, Chason has a lot of good things, but not yet great. But he's a weapon. He's an athlete.
And you'd even have to consider Denzel Mims at that point. If you're seeing wide receivers fly off the board like that, and you know going in on your draft board that you think Denzel Mims is a top 4 wide receiver as far as fit for your team, to move up and all you have to do is give him basically one of your second picks and it's the late second. That's a no-brainer for me to make sure you lock somebody like that up.
So let's do another exercise. I think the Vikings is the next team that needs a receiver desperately, right? They need other positions, but that's one of their biggest need after trading. So the question, because they had two first, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, jumping in front of the Vikings, that will be trading with Philly, which we do trade with Philly a lot.
That's how we got Lamar.
Right, we do. So if you trade with Philly, this is the trade. That's with pick 21st. This is for perspective, my guys. You have to give up your first third, and I guess your 5th round, and they will have to give you a 6.
No brainer. Again, if that's your top 5 wide receiver, and he's that big of a difference maker for you, giving up a third when you've already got another third, and that's all you're giving up extra in draft capital, it's a no brainer.
Yep. And this is, my guys, this is only so you can see roughly what will be the cost to trade up. So I think going top 15 is almost prohibitive. Prohibitive.
Agreed.
Now, if one of the guys drop to pick 16, 17, 18, 19, that's when it gets intriguing. That's when, like, how I can see one of the 3 dropping is if the Raiders at pick 12, because they have a pick at 19, they don't pick a receiver. They're like, okay, there's a lot of depth. We have more needs. So let's go with pick 12, whoever. Then you will hope. Then the Jets should have been picking a wide receiver, in my opinion. And then San Francisco is picking a wide receiver. Tampa doesn't need a receiver. Denver.
Why do the Jets need a wide receiver? They just got Rashad Perryman. What's wrong with that?
Yeah. Yeah, they have Perriman.
That's a Ravens boy.
Yeah, the thing. Oh, he already made a video. He's celebrating. I mean, good for Perriman, but yeah, not my cup of tea. Anyway, so then you can think, okay, if Denver doesn't pick a pick 15, then you can think between Dallas and Atlanta, who you start making calls. What would it cost me? And then you can get that guy. So that's when, and that will cost you a second. And then again, if you think, okay, forget about the big 3, I'm gonna go between Jefferson and Mims. Then you monitor. Let's say you have them similar. As soon as that first one of those 2 is picked, Now you know you had to work this phone to go up.
Right. I completely agree with you. And I think, like you said, just seeing the difference between pick 12 and pick 17, we're talking about five total picks.
Mm-hmm.
But the amount of capital that you got to get into the top 15 is absolutely ridiculous. Once it drops off in 15, that's where it starts to become more reasonable. And again, if you're targeting at a guy, that's where it makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, this is meant exponentially. Like the first 3 picks are ridiculous. Top 3, this is why for RG3 they had to give first picks forever.
Right.
And then as you move down on draft, it becomes more normalized. So obviously, us being at the back end. So for example, just for context, pick number 1 overall has a value of 3,000 points. Our pick has a value of 660 points. That's the amount of point difference. Yes. And as you go to the later picks, I mean, there's a point that you have 20 points, 30 or 40. So it's big.
Right.
Anyway, I agree with you. I think if you have that guy there, between, let's say, pick 17 or later, you go get him. Especially, if we talk about the Ravens' current roster, we're missing another edge potentially. But if Udon is there, it's not critical. Middle linebacker for sure. Potential inside O-line. Depends if our guys are good or not.
Wide receiver.
And wide receiver. And another wide receiver. Especially on the outside.
For me, it's wide receiver and inside linebacker are my first 2 priorities. Like in my first 2 picks, that's my priority there. And then I have interior offensive line and edge as my second tier. That's what I'm going for. But again, Clayson would be a hell of a pick to be able to get at 17.
Yeah, I like Chason. No doubt. I think he's a beast. Anyway, as we close out this portion of the stream, Fred, thank you for being here, bro. Like I said, I appreciate it, man. This got formed literally a couple hours on Twitter. And my boy here has always answered the calls. One of my mentors that we have done a lot of good things. He has helped me a lot. So, where they can find you, Fred?
Yeah, man, we do if you don't know who I am, we have a podcast called Birdland BS. We cover everything from Ravens, Orioles, Terps, everything Maryland sports-wise. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Everything is Birdland BS. You can follow me on Twitter at FredBLBS. You can follow our Twitter page at Birdland BS. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I had a lot of fun doing this. Thanks for having me on, Sonny.
And also, before my boy Fred goes, he also, because I know a lot of you are Terps fans.
Yeah.
And you guys are always talking about Terps. And I know it because as soon as I do a mock draft and McFarland comes out there, you need to draft McFarland. You need to draft McFarland. So my boy here has also a podcast. Is it Shells and something?
Shell and Tell.
Shell and Tell. So go check that out. I know you're probably very disappointed that they canceled the whole tournament because this looked like a good year for them to make at least a Sweet 16 move. So
it'll be interesting to see what the NCAA does with seniors if they allow them to come back for one more year of eligibility due to the way that they kind of shortchanged their season. Be interesting to see what happens with that. But it was a fun season for the Terps, man. They had a really good year.
Yep. Anyway, thank you for coming. I'll see
you
next time, man. Take care.
All right, see you, bud. See you.
Okay, so this will be frozen for a moment. Let me close that. Let me hold on. I know it's frozen. I know it's frozen. There you go. I'm here. Okay, so let me open the lines. I saw some text here. Okay, so I'm texting you back to make sure I can call you. So I texted the 2 persons that were there. If you want to be in the call, just text me. Okay, let me review my draft picks for you guys. Again, I threw the mock draft earlier today. This is before the Bynes signing. This is before a couple of the other moves that happened. First pick, Kenan Murray. Second pick, Brandon Ayuk. Third pick, Julian Okwara. Fourth pick, Willie Gay Jr. I think it would be excellent if we had two middle linebackers that are young to replace the ones that we have. Cole Kmet, I don't know how you pronounce his name. Tight end out of Notre Dame. And then I have Lynn Bowden, wide receiver out of Kentucky. And Ben Benson with my last pick out of Michigan. So, okay, so I see Bruno says... Okay, so this is the first call.
How you doing, Sonny? What's up?
Hey, man. How you going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm not bad, man. I'm, surviving this quarantine. Yeah. Everybody stay safe. Let me say this, too. Everybody stay safe. Stay home. I know it sucks.
Stay active.
Yes, stay active. I was doing planks, push-ups, all that with my girls, with my daughters.
Yeah.
I've been homeschooling them in my time off. And also, if you guys need more content, let me know. I can do live streams earlier, maybe, potentially, so we can, do more callings and all that. But anyway, Bruno, what up, man?
What's up?
So, you saw my draft. Did you saw it on Twitter?
Yeah.
I don't know if you follow me on Twitter.
Nah, I'm not. I don't think so.
Okay. Well, you should give me a follow. But anyway.
Yeah, I'll follow.
So, what do you think about that mock draft that I put out? Not the one that we did live. That was with Berlin. The one that I just said.
Oh, okay. I liked it. Did you take two edge players? I'm not exactly sure.
No. I took only one edge. No. I tried to take a second one.
Okwara, right?
I took Okwara, which I like a lot.
Yeah.
I was trying to get Greenland. I think they're a little bit different style.
I like Greenland a lot.
But he has pick 75, Willie Gay. I picked him because Greenland was out. They drafted, I think, pick 70, I think is when he went out. So that's when I got my boy Willie Gay.
Yeah, I like Willie Gay a lot, for sure.
So you think we should take two edges?
Yeah, two edges. That's what I'm feeling.
Okay. I don't disagree. I just think at this, for when I was doing the draft, I was not only doing BPA, obviously I was looking where was the best fit. And then this is how they fell.
Yeah, it all depends on how the draft board falls.
Mm-hmm. And then what do you think about the moves?
The moves, the recent Jimmy and Anthony Levine, those moves.
Mm-hmm.
I like Jimmy a lot. Like, he's one of my favorite corners. So I was like, that was a really good move by EDC for sure. A finesse move. Co-cap, yeah, that was for sure a move that was coming. The Chris Moore move, it was a little bit surprising, but I see the value in special teams for sure.
Yeah, the Chris Moore, again, not knowing the financials yet, that surprised me. Yeah. I was almost shocked that we brought him back. It's the same thing with Patrick Owasu. I'll be shocked if we bring him. At this point, I'm content with just drafting linebackers.
Yeah, I want some new blood at linebacker.
Okay, anything else, my friend?
No, not really.
Okay. Well, stay safe.
Yeah,
let's keep rolling, my guys. Hopefully we bring Matthews. I think that will be an extra piece. And at that point, your edge is set for the starting, and let's just bring depth through the draft and people that can be there. And let's see what happens with Jurang if we trade. If we gather more picks. Just as an announcement, remember, first round pick is gonna be in your newest channel. Second round pick, I'm gonna be here for the second and third round. So be sure to stay tuned on the channel. Well, all right. I'll let you go so I can call the next line. Thank you, bro.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Damn, it's almost 10 o'clock already. An hour and 15 minutes going. Hello?
Yo, what's up, Sonny?
Yo, it's Modius. What up, bro?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm not bad. How about you, brother?
Man, I finally have a normal day after Saturday, man. I've been doing like 20 hours of overtime.
Holy crap. Why?
In my industry, things are like getting crazy. I don't know why. It just is.
Are you in the
Just
medical industry?
Nah, government contracting.
Oh, okay, yeah. I see.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but I mean, like everyone in my office is like being bombarded. Like it's busy season, but it's not. It's weird.
Crazy. Okay, well, so you had a normal day today.
Yeah, today was pretty normal. Got out at 6:30.
6:30. Okay. Well, you saw the moves. Were you happy with the moves?
I saw a couple of the draft picks from Birdland. I agree with them. I actually wasn't quite tracking yours too much because I got distracted doing some other stuff.
What?
I can't help it, man. I'm doing chores at the same time while I'm listening to everything.
That's fine. I'm gonna tell you what is my mock draft.
Alrighty.
It was Kenneth Murray first round. Ayuk was my second pick. Julian Okwara, Willie Gay Jr., Cole Kmet, Lynn Bowden, wide receiver, and Ben Bredesen, guard from Michigan.
Alrighty. That sounds good to me.
Oh, I loved it. I love how this one turned out. Like.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't wait for the actual draft to be dead honest.
I know.
Yeah, that sounds pretty lit.
Like if I was the NFL, let's be honest. If I was the NFL, what they should be doing, they need to bring everything earlier and do it earlier in the day because most people are not working right now. They'll be killing it. They will kill it currently. So, and then they will make us a favor because right now there's nothing. There's nothing, at least in Maryland. I don't know how Virginia is, but here, nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I heard y'all are in the like strict quarantine. Like y'all, the only thing you can do is gas, medicine, and groceries, right?
Yeah. So there's not like a homestay law or whatever, but they essentially shut down everything that is not essential.
Okay. Yeah, they were doing that homestay law you're talking about. Somebody I was working with in Missouri. That's what's going on over there.
Yep. I think Pennsylvania did that too. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. You need to stay safe. But yeah, I agree with you. I'm ready. I'm ready for this draft to start.
Yeah, man. And I also heard Berland's comment about moving up in the draft. I completely agree. I see that happening too. I sniff it.
So you're thinking this is the year for us to trade up?
I don't know. It's like, you know, when you get that butterflies in your stomach and you're like, it's gonna happen. Kind of like when we're about to draft for Lamar Jackson. That's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah. So funny story, my guys. For Lamar Jackson's pick, I didn't see it, and I didn't see it because when pick 31st came, I said, well, we're done. And I had to wake up early. I was like, okay, so I'm going to go to sleep. And then the next morning, I wake up. And I was like, oh, I was so close to watching it. But I just assumed.
Yeah, for me, I was just like, I'm curious what the other teams are going to be doing. And then I saw that we traded up. I'm like, okay, I know who this is going to be already. And then it turns out, to be the man in the green suit.
Yeah, man. Which it changed the franchise for the next couple years. Woo, we ready, man. Anything else, Osmodius?
Nah, man, you stay safe, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been dealing with something. It's not COVID. I know it's not COVID. It's probably a mix between allergies and a cold. But I'm good. Thank you, bro. You stay safe. Everybody stay safe. Take care, bro.
All right, man. You have a good one.
Okay, bye. Okay, we're gonna have our last caller of the night. Um,
Hello.
Garnett West.
Hey, my guy Sonny, what's good with you, man?
How you doing, man?
Man, just trying to stay clean. You know, Lysol is my best friend.
Man, I'm running low on Lysol wipes and Clorox wipes, so it's a crazy moment, man. Just stay safe. Everybody, just stay safe.
Yeah, we are. Everybody staying safe where I'm at, man.
And second, don't panic much. Don't panic, because I think if nobody would have been panicking, our grocery store would have been so overwhelmed, and we could have just have a good flow. Versus right now, everybody panic, and then that makes other people panic more. Just take it easy, deep breath. I know anxiety is running high. I can see it on some of my Twitter feed. Let's just relax. We're gonna get through this. It is what it is at this moment. So if you have elderly with you, make sure they're taken care of. Help them. If you live near any elderly person, go buy their groceries. Leave them in the front porch. Let's try to help our most vulnerable, and for the rest of us, keep the calm.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about football. You saw my draft, and I know you saw it on Twitter.
I did. I seen it on.
On the what?
Yeah, I seen it on YouTube. I was watching your friend, man. It was not bad draft until it went off. You know.
Yeah. Fred. I thought it was a good draft. I would have done a little bit different. That was just me. I wouldn't pick. I think it was Jackson, the tackle in the second round. That would have been my pick. But I got it. I think he's more worried about interior lineman than I am. And this is not to say that I'm not worried, but I guess I have a little bit more faith in the guys that we have, and bringing a guy like Jackson is almost a depth move more than a potential starter person at that moment. So that's why in my mock drafts I started looking into that third or fourth. Although I had in my previous mock draft, I did have Cushenberry in my second or maybe first pick. So Cushenberry for me would be a great pick. But I think he is not as big of a need as a linebacker or a potential edge. Depends what we do. Anyway, I forgot what you told me on Twitter on the one that I tweeted, which was my mock 2.0. I think you like my linebackers. I think you like Aquara, but I think maybe Komet you didn't like? I don't remember.
Yeah, Cole Komet. So here's my thing, right? So everywhere I look at or talk to sources, or I'll be reading every different source I read, they have Cole Komet coming off the board as the prototypical, the number one tight end, which is, that's like the consensus or whatever. So with that being said, in my head, it's like, all right, well, he's probably not going to be there. I don't know how the hell you got him, but you got him, which is good. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, he's like in the eyes of everybody else, he's a consensus number one. He's going to start tight end. So it'll be almost like damn near the same situation, to where like, all right, well, I guess in a year or a year or two, we can put him on the trade block because we already have our premier tight end. Because as how the public looks at him, is a premier tight end. So that's the one thing that really sort of just threw me off with the tight end pick. I was like, man, you might as well just get another guard or a backup center. If Skirv's not ready, or Macari gets hurt. I'm just thinking as a depth guy in those situations. Like I know some people gave me a little crowd when I showed them my mock, and I'm like, hey, I got back-to-back interior linemen, because at the end of the day, we truly do need a little bit of depth in those areas. But that's all, man. But other than that, you had a hell of a draft.
Yeah, no, I think the fourth round will be the big boy draft, or a big boy portion of that. Now, the whole thing with Cole Komet, I think he's decent. I don't think he's that great. I just think he is the best on a bad class of tight ends. Now, that being said,
that's what it is.
That being said, for all you that love Moss, I think you all love Moss just because of his last name. I watched a little bit of film. I'm not going to say that I watched this amount of film on him, because before we traded Hayden Hurst, I thought I'm not going to put any energy on watching film for tight ends, which I haven't for quarterbacks, which I haven't for running backs either. So I watched a little bit of Moss, because even before we traded for Hayden Hurst, people were like, oh, we need to draft this dude. And again, not doing a deep dive. Everything I saw was he's an average guy. I don't think he's great. He has a good last name and he's big, but you know how many big tight ends are out there that can't do much. He needs a lot of work. Moss needs a lot of work, and I think Kement also needs a lot of work too. This is not me saying Kement is like this phenom. I think no tight end should be drafted in the first 2 rounds. None is worth to be drafted in the first 2 rounds. And the third, probably that's where Kement can go. But yeah, anyway, so I don't want to deviate because you call. What do you think about the signings? What's on your mind?
So the signings are to a T. It's been a while since we talked it, but the front 7 is me and Coach Evans, we were talking about this not too long ago in the DMs or whatever, and also a couple other people. But like, this is literally a edge rusher dream to have a front. Well, I guess a front 3 or front 4 or however you want to call it. That's an edge rusher dream to have this kind of monstrous middle with a B Will, big baby in the middle, and then you got a 6'6" and a 6'8", 300-pound monster, mountains of men on the at the 5 or at the 5 technique basically. And just imagine if you got Judon on one side. I mean, like, you automatically. I'm straight up honest with you. Who are you really gonna double team, or what's your pass pro gonna really look like? Because you really, or you double B Will, okay, Calais is gonna eat. Or you double, Calais and B Will, well, Brocker's gonna eat. And it's like one of those things where you literally are choosing your way of death, and it's the funniest thing ever to me. So I really whoever's gonna be this other edge rusher, man, he's going. I don't know who it is, but we're gonna see double-digit sacks from somebody.
Yeah,
multiple people. It's not even gonna be somebody. It's gonna be multiple people having double-digit sacks. I just don't know where it's gonna come from. Hopefully Judon, and hopefully it'll be another edge, or it might be Brockers. And I really can't predict who's gonna be that guy or those guys. I should say plural. But it's gonna be an awesome thing, man. It reminds me of the time we had Elvis Dumerville and before the back 9 Thugs. I don't know if people were remember that.
Yeah, Suggs was coming out from Defensive Player of the Year like a year before that.
Yes, exactly. And those they literally, I want to say, they broke the stat record. They was really close as a tandem. So if people want to have a mind of what that looked like, go watch that film and then think about the potential of what we had. Yes. But the one thing that we didn't have on that defensive front was the back end of the defense with that secondary. So it's like, really, man, holy hell, what the hell are you gonna do? So just to go from there, all we need to do for the luxury cherry on top picks is get a linebacker, inside linebacker that can play right beside. Hopefully, we'll see. I guess if we get Peanut back, AJ Fort, right? Yeah, AJ Fort. Yep. Hopefully, LJ Fort. I love. To be honest with you, he showed enough to me this year to be perfectly fine if we don't get Bonds back. Yeah. The way he handled. What's that?
We lost Bynes already. He signed with Cincinnati.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know that. I'm just saying, I'm just perfectly fine. I'm perfectly fine with that. It's LJ Fort. If people want, it's the way how LJ Fort performed in that Seattle game. Literally, he was playing a chess match with Russell Wilson for the first half of that game, and he did a hell of a job.
I actually thought that he was better than Bynes. I thought that he was better than Bynes.
He was. I just feel like Bonds was a little bit, he was that seasoned veteran. He already had a reputation being here before with the Super Bowl run. It's just awful. You know how it is with reputation and whatever. Yep. So anyway, but yeah, all we need is basically somebody that can play right beside LJ Fort. I'm good with that. Hopefully we can get a linebacker in the second round. How I would prioritize is somewhat like how Fred said, receiver, linebacker, and then you go on, you see if you can get an edge from there. I'm still hoping that if the numbers are correct, we can get a Clay Matthews or somebody of that nature. If the numbers can add up, you know what I mean. But I love everything from even today's signing of Chris Moore. A lot of people want to give him give it give that shit hell. But I'm sorry for cussing, but want to give that stuff hell. But at the end of the day, he's a vital part to the team, because at the end of the day, when we need to flip the field, and we just hate the offense, or I would say the offense is not running or whatever, or not performing like as it should, field flipping is the best thing to the best friend of an offense to me, and that should be to everybody. I don't know how you feel about that.
So,
but
yeah, I would say for me, they should try to figure out a way to sign a Matthews. And then if we really want to go for it at that point, either you go and find a way to get Clowney and trade Judon, or keep Judon. You had to have one of those two guys. And then Matthews is just going to be a cheap investment, but it's still a productive one. And then you have your backup on Fergie and Bowser. Now, going back to your point with the middle interior line, right? I agree with you at AJ4. I'm more than happy for him to be the weak side linebacker. I'm fine. And then whoever, I think you're gonna have a rookie playing in the other inside linebacker position. Okay, saying that, one of my favorite signings, and a guy that I love how he played with us last year, and this has been very low key, is Jihad Ward. He brings that second tier and that this offensive lineman. For example, if Brocker for some reason gets injured, I'm not wishing that on him. I think Jihad Ward can step up and be a contributor. He was good. Not only that, when in the rotation, I think he's a perfect fourth guy when somebody needs a breather. Look, this interior lineman not only is good, but they have depth. And like you said, in the secondary combined, look, the edge right now, it has in the best situation they can be, right? For example, I can argue to you guys, Clowney had a bad year production-wise. Now, when I saw him playing, he was disruptive. If I was the Ravens, I would argue with Clowney's team, like, yo, how about I give you a 1 year, 18 mil? I can give you incentives. But look at my secondary. Look at my interior lineman. You come in, you get 12 sacks, because everything here is set up for that. I cannot tag you. I will put that in the contract. I cannot tag you. Next year, you go get your money. You're still young. I think Clowney should take that, because right now the market is dry for him. Next year's cap will go up again, right? I would do that trade or deal. And then you can look for trade Judon if you want to. But that will be spectacular, because Clowney is an enforcement on the passing, and he's a disruptive force. Still bringing Matthews, and then Clowney. I mean, that whole defense will look super scary. What do you think?
Yeah. I feel you, but at the end of the day, I don't see that. That's a nice pipe dream, but at the same time, though, like having Judon still here or whatever, at the end of the day, we'll still be in the same situation, I believe, of like if we let go Judon for Clowney, which would be Clowney, it would cost us way more than 18 mil or somewhere around there. He just turned down the Seattle deal, that was set 17.8 or was 18.2, somewhere in that nature. He literally turned it down. Like, he's really thinking he's going to get 20 mil. It's going to hit him sooner or later that he's not going to get it. Mm-hmm. He's going to accept the best deal he can. Mm-hmm. But I feel that, man, the best thing we should do right now is just ride it out with Judon and see if we can just get a veteran on the other side and just draft what we can. Like I am so sold that, like, the final touches that we need to do is the draft, man. Like, there's no way. This is probably the best leverage we ever had, like, in a long time when it comes to the draft pieces. A first, a 2 seconds, 2/3, 3/4. Man, like, you're literally having 8 picks, or damn near, or 7 to 8 picks in the first 4 rounds, man. It's icing on the cake from here on out. Well, unless we trade up for somebody that we probably might need. I don't, unless we want to make that reach. So, that's the one thing I was thinking about when it comes to draft picks, the fact that the time that we drafted Lamar, Hurst, Zeus Jr., and all those guys, we had 12 picks. Now, out of those 12 picks, Lamar, Hurst, Zeus Jr., Andrews. I'm trying to think. Other than them, and I'm maybe one person I might be forgetting. Those were the only ones that contributed that whole season. So I'm not really wrapped around of stocking up draft picks. I'll say you draft what you can and you can use instead of just trying to clown, just trying to grab so many picks. And that's the one thing that right now we have everything in the first 4 picks. Seven of those picks are in the first 4 rounds, so we can actually capitalize on something that we was not able to get last year or to this year. I mean, well, I don't know, man. There's so many ways we can look at it. Like, the Jimmy Smith we signing, that was a huge plus in the secondary because we really don't have any depth. And so with that sort of changed my whole aspect. Well, we might just, I don't even think we're going to draft a tight end. That's my opinion. I feel like we might get somebody from a practice squad or somebody's going to make that cut a veteran, or somebody's going to cut somebody.
Yeah.
And we're gonna coop it. I just feel that slot corner just became a need because we really don't have a slot. Everybody, we still have Joker. We just signed CoCap. So if you really look at the depth at safety, it's somewhat there. But slot corner, everybody wants to bank on. Oh man, can't wait till Tavon come back. But Tavon's always a question mark to me.
Yep.
Like, we just really paid him for a hospital visit, to be honest with you, until I see a consistent year of activity. But I don't know, man. I just want to see what is your take on us trading up? That's what I want to. Like, I heard you and Fred talk about, but like, do you really actually see us trading up?
I doubt it. The only way that you can trade out, for example, I have a couple scenarios in my mind for a possible trade up. The only guy that in the edge that I can see that is tradable, meaning that we can trade out to get, that is doable, is Chason. I don't think that will happen. Okay. Second, if they love Queens and Mary, and they have them ranked, let's say, similar, right? I can see them trading up as soon as the first one goes. So let's say Queens goes first at pick 24. Then they might try to jump to pick 25 just in case somebody's looking to get him, to get the second one. That is if they have both of those guys rated the same, especially as right now the biggest need, and if they think they can be contributors in day one. The other scenario I can see them trading up is if one of the big 3 receivers slides down, or they have Mims on their board as a 20th pick, right? Like a value high, Mims or Jefferson, and they want to get them. But all these scenarios I'm saying is to trade basically to 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So not super high. As a lot of fans have been talking about trading to the top 10, that's not going to happen. Trade to the top 15, in my opinion, that's not going to happen. We're talking maybe 17 or later is when I see us trading up, but unlikely. I think it's probably not worth it. As I keep making mocks draft, and it's all mocks, but I think the best value is trading a little bit back. And the trades that I make back is to get my second round picks and third round picks a little bit earlier in the second. Not to get more picks. What I do is swap with them. Swap another second. If they have their other if they have multiple seconds, swap, because my seconds are late. Swap them so I can have two picks fairly quick, right? Early second, and then the next one is mid second. And that way, you can have the possibility to maybe still get a guy like Murray, or maybe Cushenberry, and you still have another early second that you can target one of the first tier or second wave of wide receivers. Because as me and you had discussed, the wide receivers in the mock drafts go quick. Now, all this for me is ... what will happen draft day with the quarterbacks. I don't know. I have a sneaky suspicion that the quarterbacks this year are not going to get overdrafted. I think the quarterback class will slide. Now, our hope is that the tackle class goes up and gets a lot of picks.
Right. So with that being said, I do agree with you when it comes to the tackle class. I feel like the tackle class is going to go priority due to all the quarterback movement. you're gonna have a couple teams that like. So how I look at it, like I look at it like this. So a lot of these teams that draft a quarterback, or I don't say drafted, that traded for a quarterback or picked up one, they're all like, hey, we need to win now. What we need to do to protect this quarterback? Get alignment. Most of you guys are looking for these tackles, these premier left tackles that are there's a couple out there. So I see them falling. That's step one. Step two is the ones where the quarterbacks were like, oh snap, I have a 37-year-old quarterback or a 38-year-old quarterback, or I need to get that next guy. And there are a couple of guys on there that's being sold as the guy. So I'm seeing that probably after those tackles, some of the tackles are trickling, and then you got those blue chip players like Isaiah Simmons going off the board, like the unicorn players, basically, that you only get once in a lifetime, basically. They'll fall in their little pieces, and the tackles fall in, maybe 2-3 quarterbacks. And the sweet spot, I say, at receiver is literally 15, and that's when it really is going to hit. I mean, it's going to hit hard at 15. Because once I believe Ruggs is going to be the first receiver off the board. A lot of people think Judy. I'm completely sold Ruggs is on how the league is going. The league has switched so many ways when it comes to a receiver aspect. It went from first we need let's find the most well-rounded receiver. All right, we're going to go with the big body receiver next. That's the DK Metcalf type guys, and then next thing you know, we're back to the whole how fast this guy run 4.27. So let's see if we can make another Tyreek Hill happen. You know how it is, man. Every year it's something new, and how Kansas City basically was threatening a lot of defenses was with pure speed, which Henry Ruggs is basically a clone of Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
So I feel that the same way how you feel about trading back, and also what we're not considering is not only we can trade our picks of this year, but a lot of people might want to reach and trade picks of their next year of 2022. So to throw that out there, like every time I do the draft network, I'm just going to keep it short. So every time I do the draft network, the trade partners I always go with is Kansas City, and I go with the Bengals. The Bengals literally are the beginning of round 2. So at pick 28, if say Mims off the board, that's the guy I always try to go for. Mims or Jefferson, they're gone. All right, okay. Well, I'm going to trade back either with Kansas City or Bengals. The Bengals are like pick 33. See what I can get from them. Usually I get a pick 2, which is falling right there at the sweet spot to where I can collect a 2 and maybe a 3, depending on what I trade off. I don't know, man. It's so many things that you can do that it's just how the board fall, man. It's a crap shot.
No, I got you. I would say my favorite trade partner is Indy, because they have 2 seconds, and then I can swap seconds. But I agree with you. I think the first receiver doesn't go later than 13 to San Francisco. And I think San Fran needs another receiver.
Yeah.
But anyway, man, thank you for calling. I always love when you call, bro. Keep it going. Any last words?
Hey, man. So just a couple things. Well, just this one. So when everything finally clears up, and hopefully, after the draft or whatever, hey, do Baltimore do like a little draft party down there?
The Ravens,
or whatever.
The Ravens do.
Yeah.
I don't know if they will do it this year. They also do a bigger one for the third day. Last year they had it in the harbor. Yeah, and they were announcing picks from there. The year before they did it in the stadium, but the whole COVID, who knows this year?
Yeah, man. But that's one thing. But that's what I'm just trying to figure out, man. I just want to enjoy it. I've never been down that area.
You need
so
to.
I'm just trying to see what it is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I'm just trying to enjoy it, man. To probably take the kids and stuff.
Yeah, it's not bad. And you're in NC, right?
Oh, no, yeah, I'm in NC. It's not even that long of a drive.
It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Well, anyway, bro, I'll let you go. We'll keep it in touch. And yeah, thank you for calling.
All right, bro.
Take care, man.
Yep.
Okay, my guys, so that's it for today's live stream. Tomorrow I'm going to be with Nubo. We're going to be talking some edge rushers. So we're going to give you what our opinions are. I forgot the ones that we have. I forgot the ones he have. But you'll see mine. You'll see mine tomorrow. So it should be fun. Also, don't forget, if you want to support the channel, go SCG Sports on Amazon. You can find this. You can find the shirt. That will help a lot. But I know everybody's going through some tough times, so I got it. So, anyway, my guys, I will see you next time. Peace out.